Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Studs and Scrubs podcast. With me, as always, my co-host, Nick. Nick, how are you doing today?
What's up, Stu? Doing good, doing good. How are
Interesting.
things? Did you guys get any snow in Florida? I know, like, a lot of
Not where
people
I
are getting
live,
snow.
but Florida got snow.
I know Florida did, yeah.
Yep.
Florida got more snow than where I live in the Midwest, just so you know. So,
That's crazy. I didn't realize that. I
yeah.
thought you guys got one done.
A couple weeks
Two.
ago, we got like 10 inches or so. But this
Oh,
last, like, snowstorm or
just
front
last
or
week when the
whatever, yeah,
snowstorm came through.
we didn't get anything.
Interesting.
So,
That's
yeah.
neat. Because you know what's funny? I was telling people at work, so it's January 26th, and the cold spell kind of came through
Yeah.
this week and the week before. And it was probably the coldest days of Florida where they got the snow up on the panhandle and all that. In Tampa, there was one day, in Orlando too, I think, where it was like really windy. It was about 35,
Mm.
maybe 38, and just misting, piss and rain the whole day. And I was telling everyone, I said, this is where I grew up in Central Illinois. It's super cold and super windy and super rain.
Yeah.
Now, of course, in Florida, it doesn't, you know how it is in Illinois. At nighttime, it'll be 5 degrees and just
Right.
turn into an ice rink.
Ice. Yeah.
And then it's like, no, there's no, school's not canceled because there's no snow. And I'm like, well, it's 100 times more dangerous to drive in the ice. And so I was just telling everyone, I said, I would rather have it be 15 degrees with a foot of snow any day of the week than
100%.
35 and raining. Now I'm wet and I can't go, sledding. I can't have any fun. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it was back up though. I had to change into shorts. I was working in the garage today sweating because it was 75 today. So our winter's over, I guess. But it's
Yeah.
winter. It's done.
Oh, all right. Speaking of January 26th, happy birthday,
Oh,
Mr. Great One.
to the great one. Maybe we should name the episode then. The
Ooh.
and Nick always
The
likes to,
ultimate stud.
the ultimate stud for sure. And you almost always have Gretzky and Ovechkin in your background. So
I
his
do, yeah.
birthday celebrating, we're only 19 goals now from the record? Is it?
I believe so.
20.
Maybe 19 to tie, 20 to
19.
break it. Yeah,
Yeah, because he didn't score last night against Vancouver.
correct. Yeah.
So which was a great game. I wanted to kind of segue into Vancouver. Actually, at first I was going to make fun of you a little bit because last time we recorded, your Washington Commodores upset the Lions, and then today was not a pretty day for them.
It was brutal. Well, okay, so I don't know how much you watched the game or, anybody cares, but
The whole thing. I watched the whole thing. Weirdly enough.
Commanders come out, 17 play drive or something crazy. They go for it on fourth down twice, convert, get points, just eating minutes off the clock. Come away with a field goal, and Eagles get the ball, and like first play, total of 18 seconds come off the clock, and Saquon has a 60-yard run, and the Eagles don't look back after that.
No, and it was. I feel like it was 14-6, and we started. My dad and I were building some of the patio furniture. Building. We were assembling the furniture out of the box, and then we came back in for the second half, and it was just like runaway. The game had got out of hand.
Yeah, it was.
Whoa!
It was bad. I watched it till halftime, and then we had to go. Eli had a hockey practice today, but it was like a scrimmage. So like his team and another team practiced together, did a little scrimmage.
Oh, okay, that's fun. That's fun.
So SHG.
Okay. SHG is usually good when I used
Yeah,
to
both our teams are kind of trash right now. The problem is Springfield. So without giving away, a lot, but like Springfield has three teams, right? SHG, Chatham, and Springfield High. And in our league, we also play Decatur, Champaign, Bloomington, Pekin.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Bloomington has one team.
Oh, really?
So all their players are on one. If Springfield had one team and we just said we're going to take the best players and make one team,
right.
they'd be good.
And when I used to play, Bloomington did have two, but Springfield had four because Southeast had a team.
Hmm.
They don't have a team anymore.
Mhm.
No, but
Even when I started at yeah, they didn't. But I know
they
before,
struggled.
even like Rochester had a team, like a
Yeah, that's
lot of
what I was going
those.
to say.
Yeah,
Rochester and Southeast did for sure.
yeah. So I think it's just gotten harder to get enough players for each team. So then they just started
Yeah.
consolidating and
It's a
um,
tough region to get hockey in general. It was when I used to play, there was a league, I think they called it Cy Hill Central Illinois Hockey League. They still play that, the
hmm.
travel kids? I think it's gone.
Some,
Okay.
yeah,
It's
but they have
not in
different
Missouri,
versions of
right?
that.
They play basically, they play St. Louis. They play, if anyone
Correct.
listening is from St. Louis, they play Alton and Afton and
Right.
Merrimack, right? And all
Yeah.
these teams, Chesterfield, that are near St. Louis County. And then we played in two leagues, and then the Central Illinois one, everyone had their own team. We weren't always good, but it was Springfield, Champaign, Decatur, Pekin, Bloomington, Peoria, and some of the small ones even had, like, Centralia might have had a bad team. Like, there was a lot of teams. They weren't very good, but that was always my dad's idea, was the whole Central Illinois should be one team, including Peoria. They're decent cities, but it's like, if we had one team, we could compete
Yeah.
against the real AAA, right? St. Louis Blues AAA and Team Illinois plays
Yeah.
Shattuck St. Mary's and stuff like that. And it's like, we don't have 200 kids, but
Right.
if we whittled it down to 16 kids, we'd be pretty darn good. So, anyways, sidetrack there, but if any of our listeners are from Chicago, St. Louis ballpark, that's the youth hockey world there. It still is. A
Yeah.
lot of pros involved. More
Yeah.
pros in the St. Louis organization than most in the NHL, to be honest. There's tons of ex-Blues that stick around and play. The Great One's birthday, there's our ode to him. He's still got a house there, probably.
He's probably got something.
His wife was from there, so.
We could do a little birth. Is this episode going to be birthday studs and scrubs? So
Ooh.
we know that we have this um, thing. I don't even know what you call it. So
Oh, right, because really this is Nick's birthday podcast. I just spoiled
Gretzky's
it. Sorry.
birthday is today. Gretzky's birthday is today. He's the stud. The day after a scrub was born. Me. Tomorrow's my birthday. Uh, so happy birthday, Nickstrom. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Stu, you are May 10th.
Yes, great memory.
Okay.
Because
Steve Eiserman, Mr. Steve Eiserman, was born May 9th. Stud. The day after.
scrub. We're gonna
Scrub.
go scrub.
I want to say, can you look up Nick Lidstrom's birthday for me real quick?
Yeah, I can.
While I do that, my son Eli was born July 15th. Stud. Just got his first high school goal the other night in Pekin.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Last
yeah,
night.
yeah. What's that?
Last night? Stud.
Friday night.
Friday night.
Yes, yep. JV game, but still, goal's a goal. So I got the puck, had it taped up, first high school game, all
Oh
that
yeah,
stuff.
no, you gotta have that.
It was cool. So he's July 15th, and Miles July 16th. 16th. I'm just saying the pattern has been
Pattern, we got
stud and then scrub.
well, Gretzky, Nick, Eiserman, Stu,
Still
Eli
Eli
Miles.
Miles.
It's
And
not our decision. Sorry, bud.
this
You want
next one.
Lindstrom's birthday while we're here?
This next one could get me in trouble. Is his birthday in April?
You might want to tread lightly. His birthday is April 28th.
April 28th.
Who's the 29?
Who's the 29th? My daughter, Zoe.
Way worse. Way worse. I thought you were going to trip your wife. Your
Oh,
daughter.
yeah. Well, she hasn't played hockey yet, so we don't know. We don't know. All I'm saying is that stud, and then, maybe she's the she breaks the
break it.
cycle.
She could break the
She
cycle.
could break the cycle, but
So we know Nick Lindstrom is a stud, 7-time Norris Trophy winner.
yeah.
And currently, what
With
they call that in your credit score. If you have no history, you have bad history, but it's not bad credit, but it's called a zero positive, I think.
Okay.
Where it's treated like bad history. Even you might not be bad with credit, but we have no record to go off of, so we're gonna do bad.
Okay.
You haven't picked up a stick yet.
That's true.
You're a zero positive. It's not a direct insult, but look, it's a high interest loan because we're
Right.
not sure. We're not sure.
So yeah. But now that you say, I don't know who was born. My wife's birthday, Rochelle, is December 13th. I don't know who was born December 12th. But let's not go there. Actually, we should probably look up December 14th because my wife would be the stud.
That's a good save after you said it. NHL players born on December 12th will do.
Oh, gosh, you're going to get me in trouble.
Maybe I shouldn't say it. Well, you know what? Hey, check this out. Oh, wait, the 12th. This is bad. That would make them the stud. First result was Frank Sinatra.
On the 12th?
On the 12th.
You know who she does share her birthday with? All-time stud, Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, Dick Van Dyke, what a guy. I like that. Okay, we'll leave it at that. We won't get anyone in too much trouble. It's not coming up.
Okay.
It looks like I'm not seeing a lot of studs. Andrew Ladd.
I mean, we've nailed them, right? Gretzky, Yzerman, Lidstrom.
Hall of Fame.
Right? Who else is there, really? I mean, Eli's on his way, but, other than that, we took the big three. Gretzky, when's Ovechkin's birthday?
When is Ovechkin's birthday?
Ooh, that should be...
great contact for
I want to say it's in the off season.
You can skip the intro if you want. Yeah, it is September 17th.
Okay.
So I don't know anyone born September 18th. I don't think. If you're listening and it's your birthday, I'm sorry.
Ooh, do me a favor. Look up Obama's birthday. August.
Which birth certificate? August 4th.
Oh, August 4th. Okay. For some reason, I was thinking it was the 8th. Or maybe I wanted it to be the 8th. I don't know. Just because I know when Crosby's is, right? The whole 8-7, 8-7, 8-7.
Oh. It's funny. It did come up when you search Ovechkin. Crosby's is down there. I guess I never even remember that, or I knew and forgot that 8-7's his number.
His thing, yeah.
I know it's... You'd almost be mad at him, right, for signing for that small amount of money. I mean, it's a lot of money, but the market goes... I was just looking at it, right, because of the Rantanen trade, right? I guess we should get into. But they were showing... Elliot Friedman was talking about it on Hockey Night in Canada because I had ESPN Plus going and they had the coverage. It was great. And they were talking about... He hasn't directly confirmed, but it was... What he had heard was that... The Colorado Avalanche had agreed to make Rantanen the highest paid winger in the NHL. But they would refuse to pay him more money than Nathan MacKinnon makes. So Panarin is the highest paid winger in the NHL, $11.5 million, I think. And MacKinnon, I think, makes $12.5. So they were saying that, like, basically 12, right? It was an estimate. No, he didn't have confirmation, but that was the estimate. And Rantanen kind of said, that's not going to do it. That's not going to move the needle. And I thought about it because Crosby signed an 8.7 because he's psychotically superstitious. But it's like the market was going 11 million, then McKinnon's 12, then somebody made it 13. I don't remember. Matthews might have made it 13. Draisaitl makes it 14. Well, next year or the year after, you got McDavid. He probably is worth 20. But he probably signs for 17, 18. So it's like Rantanen, Marner, Kaprizov, I think, are the three big ones. That it's like, okay, you expect them to say, I want 14, 15, 16. So to come in and offer 12, is a big number, but Rantanen allegedly says I'm okay with that and did not expect a trade at all. All accounts I've heard, the interview with McKinnon and what's his name, the head coach, everyone was like blindsided apparently, and Rantanen was fairly open about like didn't think I was going to be traded. Like just got a phone call and was like, get on a plane, you're going to Carolina.
Crazy.
So that was, but all that to say about the trade, in case, I mean, everyone knows about the trade now, but Rantanen goes to Carolina. Martin Necas goes to Avalanche. Drury goes to Avalanche. What's his first name? Tony Drury? No.
I think Jack.
Yeah. Jack Drury goes, he had a goal today.
He had a goal. Necas had 2 assists or something crazy, I think.
Yeah, and he almost had a goal. I saw the game, it like hit his butt and would just hit the post or something like that. It was so close. Got him in my fantasy, so 2 assists was great.
Right, yeah.
But Taylor Hall goes to Carolina in a salary sinkhole, right? Chicago picks up 50% of Rantanen's salary cap.
And who did they get? They got a 3rd-round pick. Was that from the Avs?
Yeah, it was their own 3rd-round pick.
Okay.
That the Avalanche had from a different trade. And Friedman was explaining, why does Chicago even do this? Other than helping make the trade happen and maybe there's a backdoor wink, help me out later. Why would you really help teams?
Yeah, it seems weird for the Blackhawks.
And basically they said the way the math works out is that this 3rd-round pick is going to up their pick in that round 20 spots or 30 spots because it's the Blackhawks pick. So they're terrible. They're going to be down low. So it's going to be a higher pick. And so that helps a little bit maybe. And then the math of taking half of Rantanen's salary but getting rid of Hall, they save like $500,000.
Okay.
So they actually get a little more room in cap space and they move up the draft a tiny bit. So yeah, they lose Hall, but like whatever. They got a better prospect and they freed up a tiny bit of money. And then when the Rantanen contract's over, it's just 1 year, right? So into next year, I don't think that they're on the hook for anything. Yeah. So for them, it's kind of weird, but it's like it did barely help them.
Yeah, and that is one of those weird trades where it's like it doesn't look like anything happened. And I can't remember all the details of like there was a trade in Pittsburgh. And I wish I could go back and find it. I might have to dig that up. But like there was some like random 3rd round for 4th round, like maybe a player involved trade with the Penguins or something crazy that like in the off season that then it's gonna drive me crazy. But it like helped them out because they were paying, whatever, you sign someone to like just $1 under whatever this thing is, and then you have this draft pick over here, but then it really turns into something else. Like it's these weird, I won't call them loopholes, but just like knowing how it works and making it work in your favor. So like this is one of those that just made me think of that with the Blackhawks, where it's like, yeah, it does you no good right now today, but like down the road, like you're always looking at these like, all right, what if we take his 50% of his salary this year? He's going to be a free agent after the thing. We can get rid of Hall. We're not making the playoffs this year anyway. Get rid of him, free up a little space, move up in the draft. It's our own pick. Like those are the little things that I kind of that intrigue me, because it's like that's what some of the good I don't know, just good clubs or GMs are thinking, maybe a little more outside the box.
Right. And you got to think that everyone knows that the cap is going to go up, but what's the number? So they buy themselves 1 year. I still think that the camp of the Red Wings is probably a little bit leaning that way, where I'm sure Yzerman's been trying to do deals all year, but the Wings are playing okay, but they can't gain any ground in the standings. Even when they won 7 in a row, Montreal won they went 10-2 or 12-2. So the Red Wings didn't gain any rankings. So it's like, okay, well, the whole Atlantic is so weird this season that it's like you're almost better off saying, let's try to make space and save money, because in 2 years when the cap's outrageous, San Jose, Anaheim, Red Wings, Detroit are going to be like, they could flip a switch. I mean, who's to say that the Blackhawks don't say, hey, look, we play ball. You have Rantanen in Carolina for a chance to go on a cup run. You still got to sign him by July. Okay, well, if he says 12 ain't doing it, 13 ain't doing it. Like, I look at my points. Draisaitl got 14, give me 16. I don't think anyone's going to sign him for 16, but the point being, someone like Chicago they could go out and spend $30 million and say, we're going to get Kaprizov and Rantanen both. Blank check. Okay, now line one is Kaprizov with Bedard and Rantanen? I mean, holy crap. They're all of a sudden good.
Yeah.
This cap goes through the roof. You have no clue, like you're saying, those GMs that sometimes kind of go, let's just play it slow here, and then hit the gas when they got an open window. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. So my question to you, with all this craziness of the trades, is who won? Who won the trade? Avalanche and Canes. I don't think Blackhawks are very involved.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm going to say the Avs did, because if they really didn't, if that was really the parameters of the deal with Rantanen, and they said, we're not going to pay you more than McKinnon,
right,
then you're probably losing Rantanen at the end of the year.
Yep.
So he's going to walk. And to get, I mean, sometimes you can kind of play ball and see what kind of leverage there is at the trade deadline. But usually, I mean, the Avs are a contender, right? I mean, they're not going to be a seller. So it's weird, because even the Canes are contenders. They're not sellers either. So it's a weird situation where it wasn't like, okay, let's wait till we get, if the Avs aren't going to make the playoffs and they're going to be clearly be sellers at the deadline, you would probably have a list of teams lined up. If you threw that out there, hey, Rantanen's going to be available, you'd have a whole list of teams that would, come knocking on the door. Right now, I don't know that a lot of people knew Rantanen was available.
Right.
And I say that the Avs won just because if Rantanen really didn't want to sign for, around 12, and he was going to walk anyway, then you got to get something in return for him. And to get Martin Necas, who's been on a tear, really,
this year.
and even has had some pretty good years, and he's still young. I don't know how old Rantanen is, but I know that Necas has more years left on his contract. So I think they got more player control. Is he going to put up the same production that Rantanen does? Probably not. But if you can get close to that for, I don't know how much, I don't know what his contract is per year, but for half of what you would pay Rantanen, I mean, yeah. But, Carolina, it just seems like it was kind of a lateral move, really, and you're going to lose. Maybe he signs with you. Then in the off season, you got a few months to kind of convince him that Carolina's a good place to be. But if he doesn't, then what have you got to show for it? So you're kind of going all in. And Carolina's been on the brink. Now obviously they haven't won recently or even been to the finals, but I mean, they're always in the discussion. They're always a cup contender. They're always there. They play, so it does seem kind of pretty even, but I would give the edge to the Avs just because of the contract and the money and the years on the contracts with the players.
Nice. Okay, I like that analysis, because to be honest, I thought if I had to flip a coin for it, I'm saying Carolina won the trade. And
I think it's close. I mean, I think it's close.
And your point about the money is really good, because I'm looking at their points, and they've got a little bubble on the side. That's the Puckopedia. So Puckopedia's contract, according to them, is that Necas' cap hit is $6.5 million for 25-26. So if it's still, but it says 23-24, it doesn't give me 24-25. I'm not sure why. So it was $3 million, and then his cap hit is 6.5. But I don't know if that does not go in effect until next season. I'd have to kind of Google that more. But if his new contract is $6.5 million, that's 50% of Rantanen. So in that aspect, it's a fantastic deal where they get a very talented player who is 2 years younger. He's 26,
Mm.
and he's on fire this season. So the Avs have a weird beginning to the year. They fixed their goalies. Most people probably didn't think Rantanen was going to get dealt. I know that he's the biggest name and Marner on the
Free
contracts,
agent.
right? They have to sign
Yeah.
somewhere. And they're probably going to stay where they're at and sign for more money, you would think. Marner's a little weird because of the media, and these seems like maybe he doesn't like it there. Who knows? But Rantanen, I think most people figured, why would he leave Colorado? They're a contender. He likes it there. And based on the interviews, he didn't know he was getting traded. McKinnon was upset. It was kind of like Crosby
Mm.
with Gensel. And the head coach was like, he's a great friend. I've been friends for 10 years, missing him. It was kind of almost weird interviews. Like they were upset. And so it kind of probably came out of left field a little bit to the players that it was like, they probably thought we're going to take this all the way to the end of the year until July 1st, and we're going to negotiate and come to a number, and we're going to agree on 13 or 12 and a half. Or
Yeah.
that's probably what Rantanen thought. And it said, hey, look, we offered you this. You said no. You got to wonder if the Four Nations is playing a part in this. You're going to go play on line one for Finland and block a shot and break your ankle? Nah, we can't have that. See you later. So, anyways, my first thought, though, and I probably would stick with it a little bit, is that in the short term, for sure, I think Carolina won. Just because Carolina's been a contender. They've been close. They've been right there. They go get Gensel. He doesn't sign. He goes to Lightning, et cetera, et cetera. They picked up some pretty big players that didn't pan out. They got Freddie Anderson, who's always hurt. They're always like right there.
Yeah.
And this year, I thought they weren't quite as good as they've been the past 2, 3, 5 years. But what's their biggest critique? They don't have a real superstar. Everyone always says that. Oh no, Sebastian
Yeah.
Aho's a real superstar. No, he's not. And to me, Rantanen is a full blown superstar.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I also think that he's another one that's kind of under the radar a little bit.
Oh
Aho and Rantanen a little bit.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
when you think of big name wingers, you probably are thinking Panarin, Kaprizov, Marner,
Yeah,
some of those guys. You'd get to Rantanen, but he's just not,
he's
the
you're
first
not getting
person
like
that you think of.
Kucherov.
But yes, yeah, exactly. But I do think that, yeah, this gives you a legitimate scoring threat that other teams are going to have to account for. Now, Aho obviously can score and put the puck on the net, has had some great years, but just no one's really afraid of that.
Right.
So, yeah, when you do have a big name player like that, a superstar, even if they are a little under the radar, I do think that helps your team. So I kind of like that. I think that, yeah, I think Carolina probably did win in the short
Yeah,
term.
I'd say for this season, I'm going to give it to Carolina
Yeah.
for sure because uh, the other thing is that Nietzsche is having a really good year. He's a fantastically talented player. But when you just look at his stats comparatively, it's like he is younger, but you go back and he gets 36 in 64 games. Then he gets 41 in 54. So I won't read his whole thing, but his career high is 71 points. The only season he ever played all 82, he got 71.
Mm,
So he's on pace this year to get quite a bit more. He's in the 90, maybe 100 window. So
okay.
this year he could be he's now exploding. But when you go to Rantanen, he has
He's
the
put up
past 2
100 before.
seasons. Well, he's got an 84, an 87, a 92, a 105, a 104. And this year he's on pace for about 100.
Yeah.
So it's like this guy has 92, 105, 104 in a row. And the years that he was short, they weren't full seasons. So he's never been below a point per game, I don't think, ever in his career. And he's multiple 100 points. Now you go, okay, Nietzsche is playing with Aho, not Kale
I
McCarr.
was I was just gonna say how much of that is because Ranton has been playing with those guys. That'll be interesting to see. It kind of reminds me of the Jonathan Huberdeau deal, right? In Florida, he put up 100 points or so, and then they
Yep.
trade him, and then his first year in Calgary, nothing.
That was, you know what? I think that set an NHL record for the largest point differential
Oh
drop
yeah,
in
I could
history.
see that. Yeah,
I'm not 100%, but I feel like he almost got 120. And
yeah,
people said, well, he's playing with Barkov, and they said, I don't care. He got 100 points in the NHL. He might drop to 90 or
yeah.
80, but then he dropped to right like 52 or something. It was like,
Something
oh,
crazy. Yeah,
something
yeah,
crazy. I don't remember the numbers, but that was crazy. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. I do think that Rantanen's style is, I could be wrong. I guess I'll look at his points. He is a goal first type of a guy. And maybe not 100%. I'm looking at it. He had 36 goals, 56 assists when he had 92. Then the year after that, 55 goals, 50 assists, 42 goals, 62 assists. So not 100, not a full Ovechkin over here, but like he's putting the puck in the net. And
yeah.
Aho is a passer, and they're both Finnish.
I
So for
was
me,
gonna bring that up earlier because
and I guess they played together young, like 15, 16 years old. So I'm like, you know what? This could be a way different chemistry than McKinnon, but it could still be there.
yeah,
Where,
and if they
where
play in the Four Nations Cup together and get more time,
in a week of practice, best on best in the whole world to
yeah,
get ready for the playoffs,
it could work out. I mean, like you said, with Aho being a passer, Rantanen finally gets a chance to like be the guy.
and he kind of
Um,
has to be, which
you
could
know,
help him.
who knows?
You know,
A little
we've
chip on
always
your shoulder, or
yeah,
not saying that when a guy gets traded and he's blindsided, he immediately goes to hating the organization, but I think he obviously will want to prove to them, hey, you guys messed up.
you messed up because Nietzsche might be really serviceable. He might be really good this year. You guys might make a playoff run. But the problem with the Avalanche, because I do think, unfortunately, because I hate them, that they're
Yeah,
super good, and they've righted the ship. And Makar and McKinnon are just on another planet, and it's like they have to overcome either Dallas or the Jets or the Golden Knights or the Oilers. Like
yeah,
the West has 4 or 5 legitimate cup contenders.
yeah,
And I would probably personally say the East has 2. I mean, there's good teams. The Capitals are good. The Carolina Hurricanes are good. The
yeah,
Lightning are good. But to me, it's like, I think the Panthers are still top dog, and I'm going to go Leafs number 2, who have not done anything or won any games. And I'm thinking, like, okay, well, you never know with the Rangers or the Capitals or the Lightning or one of these teams kind of upsets people, but I don't see very many chances that can beat those caliber teams. Personally, in the East, the Leafs and the Panthers, I think, are the only teams good enough to beat Edmonton, Dallas, Colorado, the Golden Knights, the Jets if they can do it in the playoffs. And then they're probably better than the Kings and whoever
mm,
else, the Blues, whoever sneaks in. The
yeah,
Wild right now are on top. I don't know if they're one step for me down. I think they're more like a Lightning Capitals caliber. I know the Capitals are in first. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to do it in the playoffs. I hope so because the Wings are probably going to miss at this rate. So let's give Ovechkin another run. But
yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
we'll see. But anyways, so that's interesting to see our breakdowns of the trade. It just to me that's all I noticed was like Rantanen is 6'4", 220, right? He goes in the net, takes over the game, and is a moose. Like right, that's why they call him Moose.
Yeah,
And it's like Aho plays on the sideboard, sneaky, nice hands, silky little passes. And who is he passing to? I mean, Britt Burns. I mean, until because Nietzsche's kind of came out of not came out of nowhere, but this year is his big year.
yeah.
And like you said, the chip on the shoulder. I am a real big believer on the money. All these guys make a lot of money. They're underpaid compared to the NBA,
All the
but
other
like
sports.
all the other sports. But it's like this is payday. You're Mikko Rantanen. You want to stand the cup. You're a superstar. You're going to have lots and lots and lots of money. But the reason you can say no to 11 is because you think you can get 13.
Yeah,
Well, 13 times 8, I don't care who you are. If there's 20 million extra sitting in the corner, go get your 20 million. And so if he goes over to Carolina and goes full psycho Peter Forsberg mode, and he wins the Conn Smythe for the Hurricane Stanley Cup 2025, then he's signing for whatever the heck he wants.
Right.
And if Carolina says, "Hey, we'll give you $11 million, let's run this back and win again," that dude is signing in Chicago for $15 million tomorrow. No way, no way. So, anyways, I'm just wondering if the chip on the shoulder, the chemistry with Aho, and the I'm playing for a big paycheck catapults him into this new echelon of 105 points. Forget that. I'm going Kucherov. I'm getting 140. I'm going insane.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might be a bit much.
I don't know if he gets that, but I do think that this trade obviously kind of puts him in the spotlight a little bit more. And so I think that, at least fan wise, and I know we don't really matter, but I do think teams will kind of pay attention to see how he responds to this, and it'll just, like I said, just the trade bringing some attention to him, and I will be curious to see how he does this year and into the playoffs, because if I had to sit here and say right now, I would say he does not sign with Carolina, that he would re-sign with them, that there would be another team that would kind of take notice and step up and offer him whatever he wants after this.
I agree with that.
I don't know what team that would be, but I just think, I think he's going to play well enough. And Carolina, listen, they're not a big market. They're not going to sign someone for that, superstar money. So I think he's just going to get put on display, and then another team's going to come along and, pay him what he wants.
I think so too. I think that'll happen. Now, the curveball scenario, I guess we should move on before we waste the whole podcast on this, but it is the biggest trade, is Colorado comes back and says, okay, we're not doing 12. Now we're doing 11. You want to come back? Would he say, you know what? I want to be in Colorado. I want to win with those guys again. I want to come back. I don't think so, but isn't that an interesting little
It is. And I don't think he would go back there either. Now, what's interesting to me is, and obviously we have no knowledge of what, goes on in the front office. And I don't know right offhand what McKinnon's contract is. And to be honest, I'm not even sure what McCarr's is. But would you not go, okay, so you don't want to pay him more than McKinnon. McKinnon's at 12. Do you not try to restructure McKinnon's maybe a little bit to where he gets bumped up to a little bit more?
Yeah, you know what is interesting is I don't remember ever seeing that in the NHL, where people get an increase in the middle of their contracts. I wonder if that's something.
And I mean, I get it. Teams with, it's a business, so it's like, no, you agreed to this contract. Why would we pay you more? But if paying you more, I mean, it doesn't, like, business-wise, it doesn't seem to make sense, because you would say, hey, McKinnon, we want to pay you more so that we can pay Rantanen more so that he stays.
Right.
But then the team's just paying more for, you already have McKinnon under contract for 12. You got him at a bargain. That's what teams are trying to do, is sign him before they, have their breakout years or whatever, so that they can get him for a bargain. So...
Right, it's kind of like Draisaitl, right? He says, "No, I'm getting paid more than McDavid. That's irrelevant. That's his old contract."
Yeah,
and people are saying, "No, but he's the best player in the world." But obviously, they used that tactic because they said, "You're not getting paid more than McKinnon. He's the best player in the team, and I'm sure in their opinion, he's the best player in the world. Even though I'd probably put him more like 3." Kucherov, to me, I think it's a little ridiculous. Kucherov didn't win the MVP last year, but they're both amazing, so whatever. That being said, the Red Wings did it with Mo Seider, apparently, that his contract is shorter. Like, he has 7 years and Raymond has 8 years. Normally they sign him 8 because it's the maximum. But it was like Mo Seider's pay is higher than Raymond's, I think. But his total dollars is below Larkin because he they refused to basically. Larkin's the highest paid person on the team. He's the captain. He's the best player. We're not going to
Right.
do it. And then it was like Sider kind of was right. Like I'm sure his camp was saying, yeah, but that's an older contract and it's only 1 year old. But it's, I'm young. I'm the future. I'm debatably the best defenseman other than, 3, 4
Yeah.
guys. I'm probably in the top 20 D for sure. Might be in the top 10 D. And they took 1 year off his contract to make the numbers work where he felt that he was being paid what he was worth, but the total value stayed below Larkin. So that's obviously something the teams do. Is
Yeah.
we're not
I
going to
mean,
pay Larkin, right? They did that. They said you can't make more money than Panarin, and he said, why
yeah.
the hell not? I'm the best player on the team. Doesn't matter on the goalie. Panarin's good, but he's not as good as me. You
Yeah.
know. But anyways, interesting to see that.
Yeah. It is interesting. And I mean, GMs know how to play those little games essentially, right? Where,
Yep.
okay, Cider will give you a little bit more money per year, but your contract's going to be shorter, or is some of that also because, hey, next time we don't in 7 years, if Raymond and Cider both are superstars and we have to sign them the same year, we're probably losing one of them.
Yep, that's true.
So are they thinking that way? Um, 7 and 8 years is a pretty long commitment, but there are times where it's like you don't want to get locked into a long term contract, with guys. But Raymond and Sider are young enough that, and they haven't even really hit their prime. I mean, Raymond keeps getting better. So you lock him up now so that in 3 years, he's not wanting and maybe he does. Players do that too, right? They'll try to, play hardball and sit out or threaten to sit out if you don't, pay him. But the reality is, Eisman's played that game before in Tampa Bay, and he'll trade you, send you down, he'll sit you. He doesn't care. That's
Yep,
you sign that contract, and that's a
that's the agreement.
business decision. And there's really not much that a player can do really to get out of that.
Yep. I mean, we saw it with
So
Truba, right? I mean, I'm not waving my
yeah,
no trade, and they said, "Well, we got loopholes, buddy.
yeah,
You'll be in Columbus tomorrow morning, or you can go to Anaheim. You pick." Basically, nothing against Columbus, other than I hate Ohio State University, but
yeah,
uh, you want to live in Anaheim as a millionaire, or do you want to live in Ohio as a millionaire?
yeah,
Okay, well, I've been to both places. Ohio's fine, but I'm moving to Anaheim.
yeah,
Just saying that, especially if I had 30 million in my bank account, I'm moving to Anaheim.
yeah,
Anyways, not to belabor that too long. The stupid civil war that's in Vancouver we'll gloss over because there's no news other than when the Rantanen trade broke. I heard Friedman talking about last week. I think everyone probably knows that JT Miller almost went to the Rangers and then it
hmm
fell through. And there's not a lot of details out there about what happened. Sounds like um, the Rangers signed that they were going to get Miller, and then something coming back. Vancouver said, "Well, no, 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 no." They wanted a roundup draft pick, maybe it was, or
mm,
something that the Vancouver Canucks. One of the pieces. There's multiple pieces coming for Miller, a defenseman and
yeah,
a winger, I think. And they kind of said, "This isn't going to do it. We want this player, not this player," and it just fell apart. The only reason I mentioned that, most people know that, is I don't know if everyone heard when Freeman was talking about the Rantanen trade yesterday, Saturday the 25th. He said last night, meaning Friday the 24th, there was a point where I thought Elias Pettersson was a Carolina Hurricane. So apparently they came so close that Friedman thought it was done.
mm,
Pettersson to Carolina. That fell through, so they make the trade to Rantanen. So I'm assuming Nietzsche was probably on the block to work out some sort of deal to get Pettersson over. So to me, the only reason I thought it was really, newsworthy was that Vancouver now apparently has caved. These two cannot get over their differences, and they tried to trade Miller and it fell through, and they tried to trade Pettersson and it fell through. So I mean, at this point, I think you're past the point of no return. You can't just say like, "Go back to the locker room and other than shared trauma. Now they're best friends because they both got trades blocked. But like, I mean, I gotta assume that watch your phone for updates because at any given minute, one of those guys is moving.
Yeah, I think Vancouver's probably trying to move Miller over Pedersen, but I mean, at this point, I guess if it can't get along, you're just trying to remedy the situation by getting rid of one of them.
Yeah,
But I would not be shocked if Miller gets moved, for sure by the deadline. But it's obviously they're trying to see what they can get for him, and sometimes that helps teams because then now if you're another team trying to get Miller, you kind of know what the baseline is. Okay, the Rangers
yeah,
offered him this, didn't work. Oh, that's more than we thought, or oh, well, we can afford that, or something. You're
yeah.
just
That's a
so
good point.
now,
Especially like almost win it, right? So that's pretty much the price.
yeah,
So if we
yeah.
can sweeten it, you
So
know,
I wouldn't be shocked. There's probably plenty of teams that could. Now, what are your thoughts on? He's obviously a great hockey player, but what are your thoughts on a team bringing in someone? I won't say a trouble guy, but just maybe not a locker room guy. Is it this
yeah.
person could mess with the chemistry of our team?
Hmm.
Does that outweigh the talent, or is chemistry?
I
You
think
know,
so a little bit because like um, there's been situations with like kind of easy target is Evander Kane, I guess,
hmm,
where at parts of his career he was amazing and it was great, right? And the Oilers, I mean, they might win the cup last year if he's healthy.
yeah.
He's that close to an X factor, And then there was times in his career when Bufflin's throwing all this equipment in the shower and stuff, where it's like he's not focused on the team and he's causing problems and it's a distraction. And San Jose, of course, was a nightmare, all those details. And it's like, I do think that there is some sort of. Here's a perfect example. Tony DeAngelo just signed with the New York Islanders yesterday. Not a favorite in some people's minds. I don't even remember everything that happened, but there's a lot of drama with him.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. And then he's having a heck of a year in the KHL. Lo and behold, Lou Lamoriello says, "Hey, come on over, shave your face, you can play." I mean, it's so he's ready to go. So that's one of those things, right? Where I think that the locker room noise can cause way bigger issues, which is why Miller wanting to go to the Rangers and bringing him into the Rangers to me made the most sense because they need someone to disrupt that locker room. They need someone to come in and say, "You're the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem. You guys aren't good at hockey and you suck. Go out there and score a goal or stay home because you're getting paid to score goals and you don't score goals." And then all of a sudden, Panarin has 120 points last year and he's on pace for like 70. What is going on? Zibanejad's supposed to be he sucks. Trocheck's not scoring. Whatever. They're all medium. They all suck, right?
Yeah.
Well, they've been amazing in January with no Miller. So I don't know. Maybe now you don't want to throw the wrench in there. So, to answer your question, I think it is those situations. You need those like crazy in your face McKinnon type people on certain teams. You need a little kick in the pants to push you, go for it. Apparently, Buffalo is really big on Pedersen, trying to get Pedersen. I don't know if JT Miller would help a team like Buffalo. Is he going to come in and say, "Hey, you got plenty of talent, knuckleheads. Let's focus up here," or is he going to come in like, "Okay, here's this old head screaming at all of us. Don't, dude. Who are you? Don't talk to me," and it's just going to make it worse.
Yeah.
It's
I
tough.
think the makeup of the team probably has a lot to do with it. The coach, what they can, just kind of the culture of the team. Uh, Buffalo's got a lot of younger players, so I can see, JT Miller not working out there because hey, you're bringing this guy in, and we got a lot of young players that can be influenced or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, the Rangers, like you said, they kind of are like that in my head. That's what I think of. They're just this. They're not, and I could be completely wrong in this, but it's like they're not. They're just superstars. They're not a very disciplined, hard-nosed, blue-collar team. It's like we're, signing all the big name
New
players,
York
going
Millionaires,
after,
right? For
But the
100 years.
Islanders, yeah, the Islanders, little brother, D'Angelo comes in, Patrick Waugh's the coach. Hey, they're this no nonsense blue collar. We got to work hard because we don't have superstars here. So nose to the grindstone. You want back in the NHL, we'll offer you a contract, but this is what it's going to be.
Yep.
Kind of a situation. If you got some veteran leadership, that can you can bring someone like that in and they can just kind of fall in line and
Yep.
not be a disruption. And sometimes it's that person, if JT Miller's, maybe he's just causing a stink because he wants out of Vancouver. And, sometimes a fresh start goes a long way for players too. They feel like they're out of a situation and they're happier. People play better when you know what I mean? It's a lot more than just hockey.
A
Um,
great example because he's not my favorite player of all time, but you take Nazem Kadri,
mm,
decent player, doing okay. He's in Toronto. He's up, he's down. It's hard to pinpoint him. They go to the playoffs 2 years in a row, gets ejected for all of round one for flying knees to the head. Kneeing guys in the head. I think both times Zdeno Chara's on the ice.
mm,
I mean, the level of wires crossed you have to do to knee somebody in the head, almost kill them, and then think, Chara might wad me up like tinfoil, throw me into row 20 if
yeah,
I'm not careful. He's like, the dude's a menace. He's not worth it, or I don't know, Toronto doesn't want him, or he doesn't want Toronto, or whatever. Get this guy out of Dodge. He immediately goes to Colorado and wins the Stanley Cup. And I would argue to this day, that's Colorado's missing piece. They need a
mm,
legitimate, full blown second line center, and Casey Middlestat is kind of filling that role. But if Middlestat's your third center, your team is stacked.
yeah,
And it's like, you look at those type of players, like you're saying, and he goes and he gets a fresh new start. And I don't know if McKinnon went to his house and threw away all of his junk food or what, but like he wasn't a problem in Chicago, in Colorado. He was the
yeah,
answer. So it's like you just don't know. There's a lot of ins and outs. I guess we could talk in circles all day on that stupid Vancouver vortex.
yeah.
But what really stood out to me, because I picked up Hronek and said he could be a
Mm,
stud, but there's not enough points yet. The best player on Vancouver is not JT Miller. The best player on Vancouver is not Elias Pettersson. The best player on Vancouver is Quinn Hughes.
yeah,
And he is very young too, but like, what a just old school, classy captain. With all this noise coming in, he never comes out and denies it. Like, did you hear with Marchand and Pasternak? Marchand
mm,
was like, this dude should be fired. He shouldn't be allowed to be a reporter. That's a lie. Like,
yeah,
straight up called him a lie. Like, said this is slander. Like, went psycho on him. And even if Marchand's lying, that's a good response. Quinn Hughes takes it the other way, where he basically is like, look, I'm not going to lie to you guys. These dudes definitely hate each other, but I'm just going to come to work and I'm going to do my thing. I'm the
yeah,
leader. I got to do my thing. They beat I think it was the Capitals game, 3-1. My boy
he had
Hronek I
two
picked up in fantasy had 2 assists. Quinn Hughes had both
two
goals.
goals. Yeah, yeah,
So it's like, you're getting paid $12 million to score, Pettersson. You're nowhere. JT Miller, you're the loudest guy in the NHL about I'm hard, I work hard, I earn my keep. I'm here to win. Invisible.
yeah,
Quinn Hughes from the blue line takes your team to a win against the Caps, wasn't it? So it's
hmm,
like, okay, well, we took down one of the best teams in the NHL because I'm here.
yeah,
It's not Thatcher Demko. It's Quinn Hughes. So I was like, you know what? Whatever. Trade one of those guys. Get lost because Quinn Hughes is the anchor. So go USA. We're going to win 4 nations. Don't worry about it. Moving on.
I like it. I like it.
Quick shout out to our boys, the Wings, because they shut out the Lightning. And I couldn't watch the game because I live in Tampa. And even though it was in Detroit, they wouldn't let me watch it.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
was blacked out. I
Okay.
was bummed. So I had some tight. I looked. It was still 1-0 with 2 minutes left. So I'm like, oh my goodness, it's still 1-0. The Lightning have their goalie pulled. Vasilevsky 1 goal and 35 shots or whatever. Talbot gets, I think, a 28 save shutout. So
I think that's right.
heck
Yep.
of a game. They just got pounded by the Lightning last week here in
Yeah.
Tampa. Leah kept telling me, "Oh, tell your dad. Maybe you guys should go." I'm like, "Thank God we didn't go. They got smashed." So shout out Wings. Did we want to do studs and scrubs next, or talk about one of these weird rules that I heard? There's a weird hockey rule I'd never heard of.
All right, hit me with that.
Okay, so I'm watching one of the games today. I think it was Rangers Colorado. Great game, by the way. And they're telling yesterday, I think it was Saturday or Friday, NCAA, Boston University versus Boston College. So the goalie heads out for warm-ups, and then apparently he did something against the rules. So they start the game shorthanded. Boston College on the power play, they score immediately first shift of the game uh, on the power play. What happened is the BU goalie went out for warm-ups. I guess he had something wrong, whatever. I don't know. I think he's Russian. Maybe there was a language barrier. He rushes out there. He goes out for warm-ups. It's too early. So he's out there before the refs are even out there.
Refs.
It's an automatic infraction. I can't remember what it's called, but it's pretty much a bench minor. And so it's this rule where you start the game shorthanded because you got a penalty before it began.
Okay.
And I had never heard of that one. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I've not heard of that either, but it does make sense.
And so I did know that there are certain rules before the game, right? Like the famous slap shot scene, right? Where they start the line brawl fight, team fight before the game. I knew from juniors that was an actual problem. And I think the ECHL, maybe, it was a big problem. They'd have fights before the games began. And probably in the real NHL too, back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I feel like there's the WHL, I think. One of the Canadian Hockey League major junior leagues had a problem with it a while ago, and it got bad enough where they couldn't warm up at the same time. I think this is a long time. I think this is in the 80s. They started to do one team would go do warm ups and leave the ice, and then the home team would come and do warm ups. So now you're not warmed up because you've been sitting in your locker room for 20 minutes. So I knew there was certain weird rules. Obviously, if I cross over ice and start a fight, I'm going to get a penalty.
Right.
Well, you're probably going to get suspended. But the weird rule I did know of the NHL is when you have a starting lineup, you have to. People kind of know the starting lineup, but there's an official starting lineup you write down and you give to the referee before the game, and it's pretty much right before. It's when they come out for the national anthem and stuff like that. Right before when you watch the videos and the coaches are doing their prep talk.
Yeah.
So 10 minutes before, 20 minutes before the game, you turn in your starting lineup. If you put a player on the ice that's not on that starting lineup, it's a bench minor.
Yeah.
So that one I knew. I feel like maybe it happened last season is why I knew that one.
Okay.
They were talking about it a lot. But so anyway, it made me think that'd be a fun little segment for us to do sometimes is strange rules or uncommon rules or even rules that
lesser known rules.
Lesser known, like a new rule even, stuff like that. So I was like, that's that weird one with the goalie though heading out before warm-ups I had not heard. So I thought I'd throw that one on because I just heard it today.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. That's a good give me a little something to research a little bit.
Right, exactly. We can do that and bounce it off, or just randomly throughout the podcast, some strange rule. Little ones like remember when somebody got suspended, their equipment left the ice. You can't throw equipment at the fans, but he didn't mean to. It just like.
Yeah, I think there was a time, and I remembered in fantasy, it was Jonathan Tays, where because you got penalized for in our league, the penalty minutes. Categories. Penalty minutes is a category, so the more you get, you can win that. But we've changed it, and I feel like it was when we were doing points, because he got, I think his stick broke, and so you have to drop your stick. You can't play with broken stick, and I feel like it broke, and he just went nope. And when he did that, he was close to the glass, and it went out of play. And then they got it, not intentional, but they got him with, whatever it was, a 10-minute misconduct for, whatever. And so then it's like, minus fantasy points. And you're like, what? Jonathan Tay's got a 10-minute
Yeah,
misconduct?
good
It was
there.
like, what? Yeah. And it was just something crazy, like some freak thing
That
like that.
that is what it is. I
Yeah.
think we're thinking of the exact same situation because it was like a little. And I was
Yeah.
thinking it was Taves or Crosby, and it's got to be Taves because
Yeah.
it was definitely like what suspended. And it's weird too because it's an automatic 10 minute. I don't think it's a game misconduct, so it must be a match. I guess it's a 10-minute match
I think
filling.
it's just a 10, yeah, something. But
And it's got to be like the you can't go up in the stands and beat people with their shoes, right? What
right.
was Milbury did that right? Yeah, yeah. So it's like it's
Yeah.
strange how these. I mean, it's got to be right
Right.
that players did stuff like that. Like you can't take your stick and swing it at a fan in the
Well,
'70s and they go, okay,
that's
we
a
can't
lot
do
of
that,
why some of these rules are rules is because it happened at some point in time
right? It's like in real life too. You hear, oh, such and such is against the law, and you're like, that somebody did this. That's what's
that
messed
they
up.
had to make a law for it. Yeah,
They had to say,
exactly.
you know what, you're not, we can't do that.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that
so
would be interesting.
that was the only weird ones that I had written down. And then studs and scrubs. Did you have any you wanted to focus on this week?
I don't have too much going on,
Okay,
so
that's
you
okay.
you lead it because
I'll
this
lead
week's
it.
just been kind of crazy with
Yeah, no problem. Because I knew you were traveling a lot too, and we
kids
forgot
and
to talk about our
family
last
and
podcast when
doing
you went
stuff.
out west. So we'll have to kind of circle back.
Oh yeah,
Since
yeah.
this one we're trying to be shorter, I guess, is
We can
huh.
hit up. I mean, if you got a few studs and scrubs, hit me.
I got a couple here. The I
Okay.
was just looking at the cap hits. It's 9 million for Rantanen, by the way. So
Hmm.
right now, before he signs his new one, he's 9 and Nietzsche's is
Okay.
6. So you save $3 million and you get somebody who gets 80 points versus 100. Maybe Nietzsche's will get 100 playing with McKinnon. So
And you know what?
it
I was
might be
thinking maybe the, I don't know. We'll see. I know initially I said the Avs won, but the more I think about it, is Carolina just selling high?
they could. I mean, imagine going on a cup run. Best case scenario, they win the Stanley Cup. Worst case scenario, they sell Rantanen for everything, or you're saying sell him
I
again
mean, did they
before
sell Nietzsche's high? Is he just
could be. I mean, he might be a 70, 80 point guy in his
kind of
career.
on a trend of where he's, getting better, getting better? And, you know, obviously, I think he's still going to put up points because he just had a couple assists today. He's playing with clearly better talent in Colorado than there is in Carolina. So um,
Definitely.
I don't necessarily think that or see that, but sometimes maybe that is the time to move on. Nietzsche would want to raise, but is he? You're probably willing to pay Rantanen, or maybe you're thinking, we can go on a run, or we can be cup contenders with Rantanen, and maybe he will sign for 12 or whatever it was. Maybe we can convince him, kind of a mentality. So, it's hard to say, but I do think Nietzsche is still going to put up some points playing with better players on his team. But, did Carolina just think, well, maybe this is as good as, Nietzsche's for Lantanen? If you
Right.
have the opportunity to do that, even
Right.
even if you're losing a year or two of control for, the contract situation, but it's like, all right, well, you're trading for a legit superstar in the NHL. Nietzsche is on his way there, trending there, but what if he doesn't pan out?
Right. Exactly. And where you might not want to trade because the ages are so close too, right?
Yeah.
Where if you've got someone like Raymond and you say, okay, trade Raymond for Pedersen 1 for 1. Okay, well, Raymond's trajectory is to be a superstar. Pedersen's kind of a legitimate superstar established.
Yeah.
Now they're kind of close in age too. I mean, Raymond's much younger, but you would not want to trade a Raymond even for like I was going to say Kucherov. You'd probably do that trade, but like some of these older guys that are kind of at their high point going down, right? You maybe
Yeah.
don't want to.
Past their
But
prime.
when you have two people that are around the same age, but one's going upwards and one's already there, you got to think the tried and true. It's like a Tim Stutzel's. Tim Stutzel's talent level is through the roof. His sky's the limit. He could be 100-point guy. Through in and out and everything, but you're not quite sure. Versus a Marner, a Kaprizov, a Rantanen, that's like Pedersen. It's like these guys get 100 points in the NHL more than once. Like they're proven superstars.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to go with the proven superstar.
Can you look up where Martin Necas was drafted? He's on your team. Did you draft him in our fantasy league?
I think I did, but I wanted to look at a different player draft as well, so I might as well do.
So I would this is along the same lines what you're saying is my mentality going into fantasy is Rantanen scored over 100 points before several years. Necas, he might, but give me the guy that's already done it.
Yep. So I drafted Necas the first pick of round 12.
Okay. So
Rantanen, I'm assuming, was a keeper.
Or round 1.
Round 1, pick number 4.
So if you put those two guys next to each other, Rantanen is a first round pick. No one's drafting Necas in the first round.
Didn't draft him in round 10.
Yeah, which is crazy that you got him in round 12.
Yeah, that is a really good draft. That's a little bit of luck, right?
Stud.
If you're looking at it.
But and then he gets traded to the Avs. Necas, there's your stud. I think he was already ranked like 37th overall the other day when I looked at him.
Yeah, he is, and he is outperforming. But just a quick little comparison, round 11, there's some good picks, but there's some people that are just nowhere near Necas this year. Batherson, Zuccarello, Luke Hughes, free agent, by the way. Philip Hronek hurt, Drew Doughty hurt, but Gustav Nyquist, Elias Lindholm.
Yeah. Who's out there available. I picked him.
Then I picked up the Ghost and Necas back-to-back because I needed a D. So the Ghost I still have on my team. He's probably a little he's a good player that's like similar to a Morgan Riley where their trajectory started where it's like these guys might end up like, a Bobby Orr conversation, and then it was like, okay, calm down. Maybe not. They're not Quinn Hughes, they're not Cale Makar, but they're very decent.
Yeah.
And so I haven't dropped him. They've both been great, but Necas outperformed big time this year. So to your point, Jake DeBrusk got picked in round 12. I'm not going to keep going on that one, but I am going to segue into one of my studs because Necas is the stud, of course, but that one kind of is known. Connor Ingram was picked right after Necas by you. And Connor Ingram is a decent goalie, but I said, however the heck you say his name, I'll put him in the maybe category for this week, is Vejmelka. Vejmekov, whatever.
Yeah.
Vejmelka, whatever. I said, okay, Connor Ingram had a really, really good year last year, but dude, Vejmelka, besides having the coolest pads in the league by far, always on point, is like, this dude's underrated. Like, these Russian goalies are freaks, and I think he's Russian. I guess he might be Czech. But, like, this dude is going to take Connor Ingram's job from him, and he's going to become the starting goalie. Ingram went down with injury, I think, at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, he was out for a while.
Recently, the Vejmelka has been a total stud, and they're kind of a 50-50 split, so maybe not worth picking up 100%, but if he's available, grab him, because right now he's on a hot streak where even if Utah loses, he's getting you fantasy points because he's just stopping the rubber like crazy. So I will jump on a scrub while I'm over there out west because I wanted to see where he was drafted. So this was the player when you said look up Necas. I thought there was a player that was drafted a little high, I thought. Not super high, but Eli had back-to-back picks, and I am now looking. I didn't realize these were the players back-to-back. I'm going to chirp him a little bit. Sorry, bud. You got to go for it. It's a swing and a miss. Stu, round 7, the last pick of round 7, I had a back-to-back. Okay. Number 12 of 7, number 1 of 8. I picked Lucas Raymond and Evgeny Malkin. Raymond kind of outperforming. Round 7 is a decent time to get him. He's above that. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Round 8, Malkin started the year really hot. Not worth it, dropped him. Eli has a tough round 8. He takes Jeff Skinner and Vince Dunn back to back. And Vince Dunn, I maybe didn't realize that he was as good as he is. I remember when he picked him, I actually recorded the draft because I thought maybe this would be good for the podcast. I impromptu did it, and it was just kind of terrible because I just kind of like commentated the whole thing. And maybe for round 1 it'd be good, not for all 18 rounds.
Yeah.
But I was like, Vince Dunn's kind of an interesting choice because right after him, everyone must have needed D. Morgan Riley, Brock Faber, Shea Theodore, Gustav Forsling. Now, Forsling doesn't get you any fantasy points, so that was a bad pick. Ajos Tacos, too. Great defenseman, but not for fantasy. So I'm chirping a little bit because Miles gets Chris Letang the next round. And so I'm thinking, is Vince Dunn that good? Like, I don't watch Seattle play. Maybe he is. So just today I put him on my scrub list because he's ranked 342. And he's rostered in 80% of leagues.
Oof.
So I don't really know what Dunn has done to make everyone in the NHL think that he's like
Was
the
he
guy.
hurt for a little bit?
He
Or
must
has he just been
at the beginning of the year or whatever, but like he's been okay scrolling down from like pretty much December 1st up till now, but he's got a lot of games where he's literally either negative fantasy points or almost. He's got 0.5. And it's just like game after game after game. I guess it's because Seattle's so bad this year. He's underperforming. But if you've got him, drop him.
I wonder if a lot of people have him because is he quarterbacking power play 1?
Probably.
So I would venture to say that might have something to do with it. I don't know if that's the whole answer to it, but
that's a decent analysis though. He's only got 20.
But still, Seattle's power play doesn't really scare anybody.
You know what? No, and I assume it's bad, but that's probably a big point for you, though. I think you might be right because he only has 21 points the whole year, and he has 7 power play points.
Okay.
So 30% of his points come from the power play. I mean, if that was Draisaitl,
right?
You'd have 45 power play points. I don't think he's got that many.
Yeah.
So it's like Vince Dunn I'm going to put as a scrub because I want to say Leah picked up McNabb or something today.
Okay.
He's ranked like 150.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's playing.
Yeah, there are higher ranked. Yeah.
They've only lost 10 games all year. Like, just move on with Dunn. Yeah. You're talking about selling high. Too late. You're selling low. Just move on. There's higher defensemen out there, and apparently he must be running power play 1. He might be the only person in Utah that's producing in Seattle.
Yeah. There's got to be a reason.
I don't know why he's ranked. Like, I don't know why he's rostered in so many leagues because people like Malkin and until very recently Stamkos and pretty much all of Nashville, it was like, well, you don't want to drop Malkin because of the name. We've talked about that. Right. But I'm like, yeah. But, as much as you want to make fun of Erik Karlsson, he got 101 points as a defenseman.
Yeah.
So in fantasy, I don't care if he's a D or a winger. I need that guy on my team, right? And it's like hard. Vince Dunn is not in the conversation of Erik Karlsson. You can make fun of Erik Karlsson all you want. He is going to the Hall of Fame. Like, Vince Dunn is not currently, with his current resume, going into the I don't know, maybe later he will, but anyways, that's my scrub, and then I guess I will close out with a stud. I got 2 that I think are better. Forsberg. I was not going to say him in case you had him because Nashville was so bad for so long that they finally turned around a little bit. Not really in the standings, but their stars are starting to produce finally with Marchessault, Forsberg, and Stamkos all are doing decent.
Forsberg has been turning it on a little bit,
which explains why you have so many points in fantasy this week. Because I feel like you, me, Leah, and whoever Leah is playing against. He was the guy that had all the draft picks in round one. We're the only 4 people playing this week. It feels like it's like all of us have over 200, and everyone else is like 120 points. It's like, did you guys forget your lineups? You're all watching football. What happened? Anyways, so Forsberg's been crushing it. I didn't write down all of his numbers, but I think that he has scored in every game but one, 6 games in a row, and has like maybe 8 points in 6 games or something. And he's probably a point per game for the past 10 or 12. He's been on fire. So for which everyone knew he was good. Last year was kind of his breakout year. I feel like not his breakout, but like he was accepted guy.
He stepped it up last year for sure. Yeah,
big time. And then my real kind of sleeper stud, which I'm kind of surprised he's a sleeper. It's the opposite of Vince Dunn, because I feel like he's a young superstar or on the way to be a superstar that people used to talk about more. And he's only rostered in 2% of Yahoo fantasy leagues. I hope I say his name right. Kotkaniemi. So Kotkaniemi is in my category with Rickard Rakell of guys that were cut. He was cut from Team Finland, and I think most people were surprised. He would be near the bottom, but I can't remember who it was now. It's in our episode we recorded on the teams. But there was 2 kind of third-line checker type dudes that made the team, and you could easily see one of them. Armini, is that his name? And another guy. So. And it was like, Kotkaniemi didn't make the cut, and you took both of them. And they're a little more kind of those, sort of a Brock Nelson with less points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those type, a Chris Tanev type of a player. And it was like, Kotkaniemi, you leave out. So Kotkaniemi's only rostered in 2% is the main reason he's a stud, because he's that sleeper. He's currently hot right now. He's got 4 goals and 2 assists, 6 points in the last 6 games. So he's a center only, partially why his number's low.
Yeah.
If he was a center winger, he'd probably be in 20-30% of leagues.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you need somebody or somebody's hurt, you got in and out of the lineup, stuff like that. William Karlsson's on IR. You know, if you're missing someone who's not the big boys, you know, McDavid gets suspended 3 games instead of 1 for some reason, whatever, I don't know, go pick up Kotkaniemi. There's my studs and scrubs for the week. I don't really have anything else other than we kind of missed the train a little bit on the McDavid craziness.
Oh, yeah.
I know we don't have to talk about it other than I don't mind. I mean, it's a dirty hit, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it because Garland mauled him. I think Garland's play was smart. Take the best player in the whole world out of the game.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you Garland's saying, I'm going to jump on top of him. I'm going to get 2 minutes for holding. I don't care.
Yeah.
I got to take him out of the game. Smart play.
Yeah.
McDavid, cross-check to the face. I heard people saying, maybe he's trying to get him in the shoulder or stuff. I don't care. I think he's trying to cross-check him right in his teeth. And you know what? I don't have a problem with it because if you don't want the tough guys to start fights to protect the superstars, and now the refs aren't calling penalties, then he says, you know what? Next time someone wants to tackle me, if it's game 7 with 20 seconds away from the Stanley Cup, I might cross-check you in the teeth.
Yeah.
So you might go, you know what? I'm going to back up a bit because we all know McKinnon's a psychopath. You think you're going to jump on McKinnon? Probably not, because he's going to chew your face off while you're asleep. He's a nutcase. So it's I like it.
I like it too. Yeah.
That's all I really thought about it. And you know what? I was happy to hear most people in the NHL. I heard a Zach Werenski interview. Most people said that. They were like, look, what Garland's doing is smart. The refs should have called a holding. They didn't.
Yeah.
McKinnon should not cross-check him in the face, but I like that he stood up for himself.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
I don't know why he gets 3 games when Matthews got 1. Remember when Matthews, the guy took a slap shot on the empty net?
Yeah.
Just went over his... It's, to me, it's McDavid's is more justifiable than Matthews was saying.
Yeah.
That's disrespectful. I'm going to beat you up. I personally don't really mind either play. Matthews is a little bit dirty, but it's kind of like, I'm not letting you get away with that.
Right.
I don't mind that. It's once in a while. It's like Perron. When Perron lost his mind, somebody hurt Larkin and he just went psycho. Broke the guy's face. He's kicking him on the ground and stuff. It's like, as a Red Wings fan, I love that. You hurt Larkin, I'm going to kill you.
I like to see the game kind of police itself.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I'm good with it.
So, whatever. That's my 2 cents on that. I think we're good. We tried to do 1 hour. We did an hour 20. Pretty good for us. We had a little marathon of whose birthdays win at the beginning of these pods. So I think that's 10 minutes. I think
birthday studs and scrubs.
That's right. Birthday. Okay, so everyone leave comments and likes. Tell Nick happy birthday. Do I dare ask a number live on the pod? Should we skip it?
Oof. It's all right. I'll be 39 tomorrow.
Ooh, okay. You know what?
Yeah.
I purposefully said it because I actually thought it was the big 4-0. So I knew it was getting close because Nick's wife and my big sister are, I think, exactly the same age. Same
Probably,
class.
Yeah.
So I knew that it was a window. I knew we were close, but that's okay. I'll be 35 in May, so maybe will come down, hang out with me. We share a birthday almost.
I like it.
All right, dude. Let's end it here. Great catching up with you.
Yep, sounds good, man. All right, make the first move, Conway. Happy birthday, Wayne.
Happy birthday, Wayne.